We are live in 3, 2, 1.
For me and other DACA recipients and even other undocumented immigrants, home is here.
Utah DACA recipients are at the nation's capital to participate in the DACA March today.
Mexico security officials announced arrests in last week's massacre involving 9 United States citizens.
I'm live outside Utah State Prison where death row inmate Ron Lafferty was found dead yesterday morning. Ron was set for execution early next year. I have more on him and his story coming up.
Welcome to NewsLine. It's November 12th, 2019. I'm Blake O'Rulian.
And I'm Kim Peterson. 2 Utah DACA recipients joined hundreds of activists today at the nation's capital for the Supreme Court's hearing on the termination of the DACA program.
NewsLine reporter Berto Sanchez talked to them and joins us in the studio to bring us their story.
Xochitl Juarez and Cyriac Alvarez flew to D.C. last night, joining activists from across the country to rally for their right to live and work in the U.S.
Mexico may be the place where Xochitl Juarez and Cyriac Alvarez were born, but to them, Utah is home.
So I was brought into the United States when I was 3 years old. I don't really remember much.
My family and I immigrated to the U.S. when I was 5 years old, about 17 years ago, and we've lived in Salt Lake City, Utah ever since.
The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA, has granted Xochitl and Cyriac, along with thousands of other undocumented immigrants, the opportunity to work legally and become contributing members to society.
DACA has changed my life completely, and I have just climbed the ladder with DACA. You know, it has given me hope to become somebody in life.
And DACA really was an opportunity for me to move forward with my life as a young adult.
The Obama-era program's fate lies in the hands of the Supreme Court as the Trump administration seeks to end it.
The Supreme Court is going to hear oral documents on a few DACA cases, and that's going to determine the future of DACA.
I hope that the Supreme Court decides with the other courts and say that the Trump administration did end the program illegally and allows the DACA program to continue.
If the court decides to end the program, this will bring an overwhelming fear of stability and security.
The thought of deportation or the thought of living somewhere else, when it's not my choice, I think that's the part where it's really, really scary.
This is my home. Home is here. And I can't imagine going somewhere where I don't have all of these opportunities.
The future of DACA remains up in the air until a final ruling that will likely take place in the spring of 2020. Back to you.
Thanks, Berto.
Salt Lake firefighters responded to a 2-alarm fire earlier this morning. The fire was at 27 East Coatesville Avenue and involved semi-tractor trailers and a business shed. Firefighter crews were dispatched around 5 a.m. and the fire was declared under control around 6 a.m. There were no reported injuries and all crews are now back in service.
Mexico's top security official says arrests have been made of suspected cartel gunmen involved in last week's massacre of 9 United States citizens. Security Secretary Alfonso Durazo is not saying how many people have been arrested or giving any information on what organization they belong to. The 9 women and children were U.S. Mexican citizens, members of Mormon communities in northern Mexico, not affiliated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Provo police are reuniting a young boy and his mother after he went missing with his babysitter last night. 37-year-old Jordana Murray and 7-year-old Victor Rosas Mendoza were reported missing yesterday around 5 p.m. The pair were found 3 hours after the report was filed. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding their disappearance.
Ron Lafferty, a Utah State prisoner for the past 30 years, was pronounced dead from natural causes yesterday. His case was controversial because of his choice of execution, death by firing squad. NewsLine reporter Haley Davis is live at the state prison. Haley, what makes this choice of execution so unique to our state?
Only 3 states, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Utah, have execution by a firing squad as an option for death row inmates with lethal injection as the primary method. In 2004, Utah voted out execution by firing squad and then in 2015 reinstated it.
Ronald Watson Lafferty was one of 7 inmates on death row as of August this year, 3 of which have chosen the firing squad for their execution. In 2015, House Bill 11 was voted in again and approved by Governor Herbert. This bill allows the state to use a firing squad if the drug cocktail necessary for lethal injection is not available at least 30 days before a scheduled execution of a death row inmate. The 78-year-old cold killer of two was pronounced dead due to natural causes Monday morning. He first entered the Utah State Prison in 1985 with his brother Daniel Charles Lafferty upon conviction of first-degree murder that killed his sister-in-law and infant daughter. Lafferty claimed to have received revelation from God to commit this murder. The two were to go on trial together, but before, Ron tried to hang himself to death in jail, as well as attempting to kill his brother. The result? 2 separate trials. In 1996, Ron Lafferty's conviction was overturned on appeal and a new trial was held, and the jury again convicted him and sentenced him to death. Lafferty recently moved to the holding facility containing the infirmary and died Monday morning. His execution by firing squad was set for next year.
Lafferty was one of the longest serving inmates in the county and was set to be the first in this decade to be executed by a firing squad. Reporting live from the Utah State Prison, I'm Haley Davis.
Thanks, Haley.
A man is killed in a police-involved shootout. Cedar City Police received a call yesterday afternoon from a woman saying her husband was making threats towards herself, her adult son, and law enforcement. Police arrived at the residence at 820 South and Sunset Drive. Upon arrival, the man pointed a handgun at the officers and started walking towards them. Police began firing and the man was pronounced dead at the scene. The Critical Incident Task Force is investigating the shooting. 2 men are dead after a shooting inside a home in West Jordan. 27-year-old Terrence Nielsen and 29-year-old Anthony Dawson were killed on Sunday night inside the garage of the home on Cali Drive. Investigators say Dawson was homeless and was taken in by the family living in the home, and Nielsen was his guest. Both men were shot in the head. One died on the scene and the other in the hospital. Investigators are treating the incident as a double homicide, but are not ruling out a murder-suicide.
The dog that attacked a man in October has been put down, and just a warning, the following pictures are a little bit graphic. The man bitten was a guest at the owner's home many times before the attack, and the dog never showed any signs of aggression before the incident. The dog left the man with serious bite injuries. As you can see in the pictures, there's deep bruising, 4 puncture wounds. It's not a pretty picture. After the incident, the dog owner's parents agreed to put the dog down. The decision was made after the incident was reviewed by Wayne County Sheriff's Office. Utah Valley University officials broke ground for the Scott C. Keller building on Monday afternoon.
And that's really what it's all about, the opportunity to be better than you were by having an opportunity to learn and progress.
The new building will be home to the Woodbury School of Business, the largest school by headcount in the state of Utah. The building will house numerous labs, lecture capture technology, and will accommodate up to 12,000 students. The building is expected to be completed in early 2022.
It's National No Shave November and National Peanut Butter Lovers Month, but Newsline reporter Halston Brown is here to tell us why November is a month to remember.
It's National Adoption Month, and here are some families to share their experiences with adoption.
When we got married, we just figured we'd have kids just like everybody else does. And our friends all started having babies, and we didn't.
It was hard for 8 years to always have that dream of being a mother.
2, wanting to be able to give and to love and to reciprocate. That's a hard place to be in, not knowing if they will be chosen, especially in our open adoption system. Will we be good enough?
They called us from the adoption agency and they said, there's a little boy here that wants to meet you.
In the courtroom, the wonderful experience it is at the end of the adoption process. I was talking to an adoption attorney the other day, and he says, isn't it just so neat? It's a family reunion.
The fact that I was adopted into this family, and that these 2 were adopted into the family, and that we all somehow found each other.
They've blessed me with love that I didn't have before.
I like to play outside with my family. I like to play games with my family.
We always told them that they were adopted, From the time that they were first born, we would tell them the story of their adoptions.
I want to see my birth parents one day. Yeah, me too.
As they grew up, each of them after they turned 18, all of our sons have connected with their birth moms. And it's been great. Our kids are grown up now, and we've got 5 grandkids. And so our life is just really great.
And we love each other.
For more information, or if you're interested in adoption, go to adoption.org. Back to you.
Thanks, Alston. It's the year of International Indigenous Languages, and BYU celebrated with a Polynesian event on Monday night.
We'll show you how the Museum of Peoples and Cultures honored Polynesian heritage.
When things are hard, I come out here and I hammer on hot metal.
We'll show you how a Provo man started a business that saved his life.
Disney Plus is finally available. I'll tell you how they're bringing a whole new world to streaming services.
And an Arctic blast is freezing out the Midwest and the East Coast, but it's not hitting Utah. Coming up, I'll explain why the Beehive State is in the clear and give you the first look at your weekend weather.
1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, yes, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work.
Thanks.
You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
Dora knows better than anyone. The best place to explore is the forest.
She knows this monkey? Of course, she knows this monkey.
Experience nature.
Let's go.
Connect with family.
RV guys.
And find your own adventure in a forest or park near you.
Let's do this. Come on, Boots.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
The long-awaited Disney Plus streaming service made its debut this morning.
Kenzie McGuire is here with more. And Kenzie, I know I'm excited, but how are other people reacting to the new launch?
People all over, including myself, are emotionally overwhelmed as their favorite childhood memories found their way onto one site.
It's like a dream. A wonderful dream come true.
Disney's first streaming service has officially made its mark as a rival to Netflix and Hulu. Disney Plus is available in the United States, Canada, and the Netherlands, and costs $6.99 a month. It features Disney content including classic shows, movies, and documentaries. Programming will also include Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel films. But the service hit some snags, with thousands of people reporting loading errors and connection problems. Some people have even posted, like Grace, saying that when she went and opened Disney Plus, this happened. Apparently, this is the picture you get if your videos aren't downloading properly. But once it is loaded, Ivy shows us just what we can expect, saying that they have set up categories via decades. And I know I'm very excited for the 2010 category. That's where I'm going to be living. And there are some other problems that Allie pointed out, such as The Simpsons is only showing up in widescreen. And she says, if Disney Plus doesn't deliver on their promise of a 4:3 aspect ratio, I will become a real-life Disney villain. And we don't want that to happen. But most of us are like Tyler, where we're saying Disney Plus just launched and I am in panic mode. What do I watch first? Because you have things like Endgame, Boy Meets World, The New Lady and the Tramp, The Muppets, Sweet Life on Deck. Honestly, we're all just kind of feeling like Phoebe right here going, what do I do? What do I watch? So even with these connection problems, the feelings of nostalgia that Disney has is pulling everyone towards subscribing. So get your popcorn and get ready to relive your childhood.
Along with the Disney Plus release today, many new TV series will be ready to stream, and we can expect to see a familiar face. NewsLine reporter Madeline Reber is in the studio to tell us more.
Yeah, so NewsLine's very own Taylor Hanson is a featured drama student in the High School Musical, the series. This new series is a spin-off of the original Disney Channel movie that first aired in 2006. The story follows current East High students as they audition and work to put on High School Musical. The show airs its first episode today along with the Disney Plus release. So I'm here with Taylor Hanson. Taylor, how did you even get involved in something like this?
Yeah, so I have wanted to be on Disney Channel my whole life. That was my childhood dream. And so when I saw the opportunity to audition for High School Musical, the series, I had to take the opportunity. And so I auditioned alongside 300 other people, and then they picked 15 of us.
Okay, yeah, how did that feel? I mean, I imagine it's like a childhood dream come true.
It seriously was. So it was super nostalgic walking onto the East High set, and we sang a lot of the original songs in this series, and we talked a lot about the original cast.
Okay, yeah, cast members, I've heard some word about maybe some of them coming back. Any word on that?
You know, I can't give too much away. All I can say is watch the show. There's a couple surprises along the way.
Okay, awesome. And one last thing, just tell me more about like what we can expect for season 2. I know there's like word on sophomore year.
Yeah, so it's officially been renewed for a second season, so that's really exciting. And so filming should probably start at the beginning of the year, but we'll see.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.
Next time you need your suit of armor repaired, why not hit up your local blacksmith? Provo man Ben Schwendeman turned one of his childhood hobbies into a local business, while at the same time forging a better life for himself. Joseph Carson shows us how.
So middle children, if you're a middle child, you should probably just start lighting things on fire and your parents will pay more attention to you. So there's 4 basic tools that a blacksmith uses. Number 1 is his forge. That's what produces the heat and heats the metal up. Number 2 is the anvil, which is more important than anything else. A quality anvil makes the work 10 times easier, simply because its construction determines how much force is being applied to the steel. Tongs and a hammer are the other 2. They're your hands and your force. It's really a bad idea to try and hold hot metal with your hands, so the tongs kind of give you that extension so you don't burn yourself. My name is Ben Schwendeman, and this is Stone Fox Forge, a little smithy that I run here in Provo. I teach classes, I make products, sell things on Etsy. I've got people coming in here almost every single night and about 12 hours a day on Saturday to make knives, make keychains, do some flowers, date nights, a lot of things like that. About 3 years ago, my wife and I realized I have depression and anxiety and I couldn't hold down a normal job, so I opened up this business. Blacksmithing really saved my life. So about 3 years ago, I was so depressed and so unhappy that I was ready to commit suicide. When things are hard, I come out here and I hammer on hot metal. One focused effort that helps me kind of take a longer view of things and recognize that what is happening now is not going to be what's happening forever.
You can follow Ben's Forge on Instagram at StoneFoxForge or sign up for a metalworking class on his website, www.foxforge.com.
2019 is the year of the Indigenous language. Last night at the BYU Museum of Peoples and Cultures, visitors felt the Aloha spirit, the Talofa spirit, the Arofa spirit, and more in a night of Polynesian culture and language learning. Bella Erickson reports.
The Museum of Peoples and Cultures put on a special event where visitors received passports to explore various island nations represented throughout the museum.
Tonight is what we call the 2019 Year of the Indigenous Languages. We have Tahitian and Tongan and Fijian and Kiribati and Hawaiian and Samoan. There are some of the languages that are indigenous that without us preserving them, then their culture and their heritage would be lost.
Preservation is key when Pacific Islanders make up just 1.26% of the Provo population. Seni Teolilo, a Provo resident and volunteer at the event, shared his feelings on his Tongan heritage.
Culture is the way that we look at a family being together. And with the Tongan culture itself, everybody knows their place, a structure that sets everybody in helping the direction of the things that we do in the daily lives. And as far as the culture, It is what's bringing everybody together.
The BYU Language Department plans to host similar events in the future to help educate Provo on the diverse nature of the community. Reporting for NewsLine in Provo, I'm Bella Erickson.
Well, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas for some states because much of the U.S. will get this vicious blast of winter weather over the next few days. Snow, you can see, is already falling in some states, and the National Weather Service says that more than 300 cold temperatures could be broken or at least tied by Wednesday. Now, roughly 70% of the U.S., about 240 million people, will have these below freezing temperatures Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. And look at these winter weather advisories stretching all the way from Colorado to Maine, even northern Florida. Now here in Utah, we are not getting those cold temperatures because look, we are protected by the Wasatch Front. So this crazy weather is happening up here, and the reason so many temperatures could be broken is down right here in the southern United States. These are winter weather advisories for states that shouldn't see cold weather really until January. But we are safe because of this Wasatch Front, and look, our temperatures are nice too. You can see this cold Arctic blast will move up north by the end of the week, but we might get some cooler temperatures. Look at this into our weekend. A few snow flurries maybe in our upper elevations going into next week, but we're staying pretty warm right now across the Wasatch Front. Our temperatures are looking great. Logan at 53, Salt Lake at 57, Provo at 58, and then look at St. George down there in the 70s. Now our lows are in those mid to upper 30s, 30 in Logan, 37 in Salt Lake. So we're looking at pretty good normal temperatures right now. For St. George, the only crazy weather you could be getting is a few clouds Thursday through Friday into your weekend, but beautiful temperatures in the 70s. You might cool down a little bit on Sunday. Now for northern Utah, we've got the same thing, just a few cloudy skies Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it will be a nice weekend because we will have some warmer temperatures, 63 on Thursday and then 62 on Friday. Saturday though, we'll drop about 10 degrees and our lows will get just a little bit cooler, close to freezing. Now these are nice temperatures, but we'll be right back with more sports after this break.
Jeff Foxworthy here. You know, if you've ever found yourself repeating the same thing for 75 years, you might be Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Well, thing is, there's a lot more to say. Like if you've ever found yourself burning yard debris and then walking away, well, you might be starting a wildfire. So for the love of the outdoors, go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Get along down the road, we got a long way to go. Scared to live, scared to die. We ain't perfect, but we try. Get along while we can. Always give love the upper hand. Paint a wall, learn to dance. Call your mom, buy a boat, sing a song, make a friend. Can't we all get along?
BYU women's soccer earned a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament.
That earns the team a date with the 2 seed in this quarter of the bracket, and that belongs to
BYU will host Boise State in the first round of the NCAA tournament this weekend. This comes after being the only undefeated team in the nation after going 18-0-1 overall. This is BYU's 20th tournament appearance. Boise State will come to Provo as the Mountain West Conference champions. The game will be played this Friday at 6 p.m. at Southfield. And in other soccer news, senior forward Elise Flake was named the West Coast Conference Player of the Week. Flake has scored a goal in each of BYU's games last week, and while adding a pair of assists to lead the Cougars to a second consecutive WCC championship. BYU football takes on Idaho State this Saturday and will also celebrate their seniors in their last home game of the season.
It kind of just hit me last game, honestly. I only have 2 more games in Lavelle. And so I'm just trying to soak it all in and cherish every moment that I have left.
The Cougars will honor 19 seniors on Saturday, including Diane Guanalaku, Aleva Hifo, Micah Simon, and Austin Lee. Idaho State has a 3-7 record this season. The game begins at 1 p.m. at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. BYU men's golfer Peter Quest was named co-winner of the Ben Hogan Award for the month of October. The award is given to the top golfer in the NCAA every month. This comes after Quest won the St. Mary's Invitational last week in Pebble Beach, California. He shares the honor with Christopher Gotterup of Rutgers. Quest has won 3 tournaments so far this season and 10 throughout his BYU career. Mary Lake of BYU women's volleyball was named the West Coast Conference Player of the Week after her historic performance last week. The All-American and U.S. national team member became the Cougars' all-time career digs leader last Thursday at Santa Clara. Lake now has 1,815 career digs. You can watch Lake and her team in action on Friday against San Diego. And guys, in other BYU news, the basketball team takes on Southern Utah tomorrow night in the Marriott Center. So
Go Cougars.
Awesome. I know, we finally have basketball back. It's fun.
That'll be fun. Looking forward to it. A Thoughtful Jeopardy contestant brings host Alex Trebek to tears.
Drove Gar wrote a message to Trebek as his answer during the final Jeopardy round on Monday's show. The message said, "What is we love you, Alex?" Gar lost $1,995, but Trebek was touched. Right after the sweet message, Trebek had shared with them that he was re-entering treatment for pancreatic cancer. Gar later tweeted that in the final coming up, he's just thinking about Alex and decided to write the message instead of a correct answer.
Well, what a sweet way to share that.
I know. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on Newsline.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu/Newsline. Have a great day.